Game number 2 of the ACC-HL tournament, and welcome back to the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Ice Arena, home of the Twin City Thunderbirds. Alex Wiederspiel here, joined alongside by Finn Trainer, and we've got a good one for you today. Good second game for you, Maryland and UNC-Wilmington. Now, obviously, look, this is a UNC-Wilmington team that I think comes in, many expecting to be kind of the favorite to take care of business in this one. But Maryland has been hot lately, and sometimes in hockey, it really is just about who's hot at the right time.
Oh, yeah, they have been running the show for, as of late, they've really come into their own stride where they've struggled a little bit here at the beginning of the season, but they've really turned things around, scoring a lot of really big goals, and they ended up beating Ryder, which pushed them into this tournament here. So if they can ride that momentum all the way through, it can definitely change a lot of things for the Terps.
I'll be really curious to see if my computer will allow it. I don't think it will. I'll be very curious to see how things go down for this Maryland team, who, of course, needed that last game to get in. But for UNC-Wilmington, a lot of this conversation starts with Zach Ons and Kai Levy, who provide great offense for this group. Ons up front with 8 goals, Levy 14 assists from the blue line, and there's a lot of talent up and down this Wilmington roster.
Oh, of course. They have played as strong as possible. You look at a lot of teams and you want to have a lot of strength in your forwards, but the defense for Wilmington has also been really strong as well. They've had a couple of people, like number 14, Nolan Tabernam. He's got 5 goals and 1 assist, and 3 of those goals are on the power play, which is something that you really want to see from those defensive players, getting a lot of those good looks, especially in a situation where you are a man up as well.
The other part of this that I'll be paying close attention to, and he's in the starting lineup, so we'll see him on the ice, the big 6'4" defenseman for Maryland, Brian Teske, comes into this one. 9 goals from the blue line this season. They have 14 goals from him, combined with Eli Petter. Caleb Craven has 6, so they score a lot from distance. Those are guys who can put the puck in the back of the net, and obviously getting production out of your blue line. It's not always the first thing you're thinking of, but they've got size and they've got offensive ability.
Exactly, and normally you see the players that are a lot taller, a lot bigger, they're normally playing there in front of the net. They're normally the player that kind of jostles the goalie off, screens the goalie, but to see that talent being used so much better up at the blue line is actually really impressive, and it really shows how well this Maryland team has learned a lot from their mistakes early on in the season and really finalized what their final lines had to look like going into this tournament.
Be very, very curious to see what Joe Carter's got in store for this Maryland team, and again, it's just been what an odd season. They were red hot to start the season, and then things kind of got off the rails a little bit. You look at the way they played early. They beat Towson in back-to-back days. They beat Virginia. They beat they beat North. I have the wrong team. They beat Millersville twice, I might add. But they were bunching up wins in big stacks, right? They were stacking up wins. The problem always seemed to be once you started getting up into that sort of top tier, they face a UNC Wilmington, can't get the win there. Face an NC State, can't get the win there. So that's where I'm most curious. And they had this really brutal stretch in the middle of the season, and I think that's where I think for sure you're always watching with an up and down team, a Jekyll and Hyde team like Maryland. You're watching which version are we getting? Are we getting Jekyll or are we getting Hyde?
Oh, yeah, I definitely am very used to watching that as a Blackhawks hockey fan. We have some scenarios where we play really, really well, and then it gets a little rough here and there, and that's sort of the story with Maryland as well, where they've had that good push early on, and then they have a sequence of games that sort of are a struggle. And sometimes you really need one game to really snap out of that, and that's what they ended up doing later in their season as well, where they were able to go on that ride to get here to this tournament.
No one played fewer games than UNC Wilmington. They only played 16 games in this tournament. Wake Forest is the only other team to play as few. Some of that likely weather-related over the course of this season. It's difficult this time of year, especially with club college hockey getting all these games in. But the thing is, nobody was as dominant in their 16 games as UNC Wilmington, winning 14 of those games and only losing a single one in regulation. So the Seahawks come in. I think there's an argument to make. They might be the favorite in this tournament. Again, Rowan is the number 1 seed. Penn State, obviously, we know what type of damage that they can do, but the expectations are high for the Seahawks when you look at this group. And obviously some of that starts with a guy named Carter Doherty, who I know you mentioned. He is electric on ice.
Yeah, he's sitting with around 11 goals as of late, and he comes out on the ice, and you can already tell that he's there. It's the speed of the player, the stick skills is phenomenal, and you just can't stop but watching that guy when he's out on the ice.
Excited to see how this one potentially goes down in non-conference games this season. So any game outside the ACC, UNC-Wilmington outscored their opponents by an average of 5-1. 54 to 11, or I should say a ratio of 5-1, 54 to 11 in that stretch. So starting lineups being introduced. We'll take a very quick break right back after this with the start of this one. The Seahawks and the Terrapins on AAU Plus. Back in a moment. So the winner of this one will move on to the night game. Well, they're both technically night games, but the late game tomorrow night right here at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Ice Arena, and they will take on either Wake Forest or Penn State. There really are no easy games the deeper you get into this tournament. One way or another, you're going to have to beat somebody good. Alex Wiederspiel here with you alongside Finn Trainer, and this is sort of, again, the setup for this one is the team that's hot versus the team that's been dominant all season. It's just UNC-Wilmington has not played as much as you would like to see. That's the one nagging concern for me, Finn, in the back of my head is, have they played enough hockey for that sample size to matter?
Yeah, we've seen that with teams like Wake Forest as well, where they might be a really strong team up front, but because of that stretch of time where they haven't had those games, it becomes a very big issue.
Dylan Clancy, the starting netminder for the Seahawks. Jack Pharisee, the freshman, starting for Maryland as we are officially underway with game number 2 in the ACCHL tournament. Thank you for being here, however it is you're joining us today, whether on YouTube, whether on the Fairgrounds website, or on AAU Plus. And we already have our first stoppage here. Maryland in what are always some of the most unique uniforms in college hockey, and they will also have a unique uniform in the box to start this one as James Body, the senior forward, already just 23 seconds in, takes a 2-minute minor.
Yeah, he'll take a call for interference there, and this early into the game, giving Wilmington a power play opportunity is very scary for the Terrapins.
So let's see what Wilmington can do here. Again, haven't played a lot of hockey. Redirection in front will not go. Going to go over some goalie stats here in just a moment and highlight this goalie matchup. But first, we got to see if one of them can stand tall here after his team put him in a little bit of a rough situation. Maryland able to exit the zone and clear this one down. So the first stretch of this power play, about 25 seconds gone by, and the advantage goes to Maryland on the kill as they clear it out once again.
Maryland's a really strong team on the penalty kill and on the power play as well, so it's not that they're man down that is going to be the issue. It's how fast they can keep up that pressure once Bodie comes back out of the box.
Little drop pass and then fired on net. by Carter Doherty, but sticked away. Another one fired on net. This one redirected away from the netminder. Went off the body of a Seahawk. UNC Wilmington in those almost San Jose Sharks-esque looking jerseys. White and teal, though the pants are very decidedly not San Jose-esque. Able to keep the line there. Good hit from Maryland, and that was Colin Doherty, the freshman forward. Not to be confused with Carter Doherty. No relation, spelled different. I'm sure I'll have no problem with that as the game goes on.
Well, last game against High Point, you also had the 2 Sassos as well.
That is true. That is absolutely true. Levi put that one on net, didn't get through, passed through the slot, comes down back to the half wall. Middle of the blue line, pass back to the wall. We're now down to about 23 seconds here on this power play. Shot in front, some traffic, gloved by the netminder Clancy. Good work there. Levi throws one on net again. The senior from Margate, New Jersey, with a couple of shot attempts on that last sequence, but good work from the netminder. Again, just not worried about the redwood trees in front.
It's always a hard thing to make some of those stops, especially when they're that close in front of the net. It can become a big issue for goaltenders. So good to see him get that save starting off the game tonight.
Nolan Tabraham is among several who were scrummed in the corner here, and that will just about do it for the power play. 3 seconds left, able to get one last attempt off, but didn't get it through. Nice block, way to give up the body, and that's going to lead to an icing here out of the box. So UNC Wilmington will get another offensive zone face-off. A lot of O-zone time for the Seahawks to start. They have not had much to show for it. And of course, look, you don't want to play all game without the puck, but early on, Maryland has shown that they can do it.
Yeah, it's a bit of back and forth that we've seen, but mainly Wilmington in their own zone. Maryland hasn't really found a situation where they've been able to really control things, and part of that has been because of that power play that Wilmington was just on.
Another blocked shot. That was Tommy Pilkington, the 6'2 freshman for Maryland, and really good job by the Terrapins getting into the shooting lanes in the early stretch here. We've seen a lot more shot attempts, only 3 actually on goal for the Seahawks thus far. Good wipe out there along the benches. So this up will go towards the goalie. No icing. And Pharisee didn't play it. I think he was thinking maybe an icing call, but nonetheless, another turnover, and the Seahawks with it in their own zone. See if they can set up a clean break here. Good pass, even better drop. A wipe out in the middle of the zone. We have a whistle coming here. Noam Neesmith went down. I don't know if that was a penalty. Let's see. They are staring at the bench there. No penalty called, so
I believe the whistle was just with the goalie for Maryland stopping the puck there at the end there.
Yeah, didn't see. Sorry, was paying attention to Neesmith, who had wiped out at center ice and missed that entirely. Probably should watch where the puck is going, but
no, a big hit there, and lucky that it didn't end up too bad for Wilmington, as we've seen a couple of already really big hits here tonight or today in this game, but also earlier in the last one as well.
It was physical in the first game, and you're not lying. This start has been physical as well. This is another shot that ping-ponged around but didn't get to the netminder. Still haven't been able to clear the zone, though, and that's a good effort from Maryland to get that one out. Not cleanly, though. So here's Andrew Radabaugh, gets this one away. Flipped up by Doherty for UNC Wilmington, giving chase now. Maryland's going to be able to exit cleanly here, and then a backhander into the zone, allowing Maryland to go for a change. Just haven't seen much from Maryland challenging offensively. They have played a strong defensive game. They've blocked a lot of shots. The structure's been good, and they've collapsed well. That shot attempt kind of rolls up and goes wide, and now we might have a call. Hold on.
They're going to call a high stick, I believe, on Lucas Moses. Won't go to the box for it, so I think they'll just blow the play dead.
Played it with a high stick, yeah. Because I was going to say, I didn't see the arm go up, but I did see the the signal of a high stick. So we continue on. Puck sent deep, and going to give chase is Tabraham. Senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina. Maryland able to force a turnover here deep, and that's going to give them an opportunity working through, unable to make the play. Michael Schrabum lost it off of his stick. Undersized sophomore, and now back the other way with it goes Wilmington. Lost the puck, and right now nobody can seem to get a handle on this thing, trading it back and forth, overskating it. Finally, UNC Wilmington comes up with it, weaving through the offensive zone. Another shot, another block. And there's that physical game we were talking about there, right in front of the Maryland bench. This one skips towards the netminder. That was James Romps, another freshman on this Maryland team, who lays a pretty big hit there. And you're right on. I think you have to come out with a little bit of a physical edge in this one. I don't really see any other choice when it comes to a winner-take-all game like this.
Both of these teams are not super physical teams when they play at home especially, but then in a lot of situations they play a little bit more calm. But I think this tournament is putting a little bit more of an edge on that and causing them to realize that physicality might be the way to win this.
Certainly saw it in the last game. I don't think anybody would doubt that Virginia Tech ramped up their physicality as that game went on. High Point had the physical edge early, and Virginia Tech had it late, and Virginia Tech dominating that game. Backhander shot is gloved after weaving in and out of multiple defenders. Nice effort there from Corey Levy, the junior forward, but he is unable to connect. Another save there. That's the 8th now for Pharisee.
Yeah, both of these teams at the bottom of the list when it comes to times that they've spent shorthanded. Maryland sitting around the 17 mark, and UNC Wilmington sitting around 40, so it's definitely an interesting thing to see. A couple of penalties might start happening as this game ramps up a little bit more further in.
Pharisee on the season, 6-9-1, but a .902 save percentage, and I keep a close eye on that. Anytime you see a goals against, which he has, and he gloves another one, real long one, they count that as a shot. That's save number 9. But I always keep a note of this. So his goals against is over 3, but his save percentage is over 900. The one thing that makes you think is he's probably facing a lot of rubber, because it's uncommon to see those two numbers together like that, unless you're facing a high volume of shots.
Oh, yeah, and sometimes that's attributed to the defense, but it's also sometimes just based off of a rough bounce that some teams can really get out of habit with. That's something that can really change the game tonight for Maryland as well, is if they can get those lucky bounces, then they can really shine throughout the day.
And they did count that as a shot, by the way. Clancy, meanwhile, has yet to face a shot. He has got the best record of all goalies in the Premier Division as this puck went out of play. 12-1-0, 292 goals against, 904 save percentage, and 1 shutout on the season. So the numbers are actually pretty similar. What that really should show you is the goal support that UNC Wilmington has been able to provide, which has been quite a bit. They're able, in their games that they have played, the numbers are pretty big. They have 4 players who are better than point per game on the season.
Defensively, Wilmington has been really strong in this game as well, not really giving Maryland an opportunity to really settle the puck down, and that's what Maryland is looking for, and they might actually get here with that icing call.
Yes, so that'll lead to an O-zone faceoff for Maryland, and obviously, look, I'll be honest with you folks, we're not tracking zone starts, but I don't know that Maryland has had one in the offensive zone.
I believe they might have just had one off of a offsides call, but other than that, it's really just been in the Maryland defensive zone.
Yeah, 7 minutes and 1 second gone by here in the first period. Maryland wins the faceoff. Shot on, and there's the first save had to make by Clancy as he gets it done with the pad. Ooh, Maryland player wiped out. No call there. Probably a good no call. I think he just lost his balance. That was Eli Petter who went down, freshman defender. That's the thing you notice, too, about this Maryland team. They are young. They are very, very young. And that's actually a theme, a couple of teams. The Rowan team is also extremely young this year. Worth keeping an eye on, because you always do wonder, How do freshmen perform in sort of these big moments as Maryland is offside here after forcing that turnover? Player had not yet cleared the zone. That was Patrick Harnon, the starting number one center, sophomore for Maryland. But that is something I wonder about a lot, is when you bring a lot of freshman contributors to a tournament like this, how are they going to handle the pressure? It's always a question with young players.
Sometimes that new change of pace might be what a team needs, but other times it can be that little bit of unseasoned that can really just change a way a team plays in a regular season versus a tournament like this.
Gaining the zone now, and down low, that's Neesmith, took a huge hit earlier. Another shot, and Maryland starting to do some real work here. Possible breakaway opportunity, great back pass, backhander, big save, net left open. Maryland's got possession, trying to go with a cross slot seam pass, and it's intercepted back the other way. Wilmington bailed out there, and that all starts with a great shot block.
Oh, yeah. Maryland getting their first really good look there, and it's off of a 1-on-2. Perfect opportunity there for Maryland as they really try to regain the zone again.
Wilmington forced a big turnover there and couldn't get a shot through again. So kudos to Maryland. They are blocking shots essentially in every lane at the moment, and then firing a quick one from the point. I don't know if that one got through to Clancy. He certainly was ready for it, but I think that time it hit a player. And in front, this one a clear-sighted shot from the near side half wall, easily gloved. And boy, what a frenetic last minute and a half or so, leading us to our first media timeout. We'll step aside. It is scoreless here between the number 2 seed Unc-Willmington Seahawks and number 7 Maryland Terrapins at the ACCHL tournament. We're back in just a moment on AAU+. Maryland shot blocking been a huge story in this first period, Finn.
And that's really where this shot comes from, is a block off of the stick of Maryland, passing it right back to him and almost getting that backhand, which can be very difficult for a goalie to get. And you can already see that Wilmington's goalie is outside of the blue paint, and that could have been a costly turnover for the Terrapins.
That was a little bit of a chaotic moment for Wilmington. All started with that Maryland shot block, but 9-3, the shot advantage in favor of the Seahawks. And they have possession, trying to chip this one to himself. Big hit into the boards. Chris Lawson. Don't tell him he's just 5'9".
That's what you like to see from the smaller players as well, is really making their name present, because sometimes you overlook them, and he's definitely not one to be overlooked for this game.
Boy, we heard that up here. We felt that up here. That was a big hit. More physicality there. No call, though, right in front of the Maryland bench. Looked like James Romps and Andrew Radabaugh, the freshman defender for Wilmington, going right at it. Shot on. That one's wide of the net. Back the other direction now for Wilmington. This one was just chipped down in and winds up going on net. Gloved by the netminder Pharisee, and Maryland will stop it, freeze it, and face off coming in the offensive zone for the Seahawks.
Big pressure for Pharisee as a freshman goalie coming into this tournament and really trying to settle his team down. He's made some really good stops for his team and really kept this second-ranked team scoreless for 10 minutes.
Boy, they're killing me playing country roads when West Virginia did not wind up making this tournament here.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough season for West Virginia. They definitely have some really good talent, and so I'm really excited to see what they turn around for next year as well.
Yeah, but Mountaineers and Ryder, the Bronx, did not make this tournament as shot off that first face-off was frozen again, so that was the 11th shot of the day. Turnover forced, good stick to send this out of the zone as it flipped up over the stick of Ben Kane. This one sent back down, essentially a long shot, and making sure to get down and make the play. It's Pharisee. Well, UNC-Wilmington really peppering the net. Wonder if they're trying to test the freshman, poke and prod, see if he's as good as advertised. Ooh, bit of a dangerous attempt at a hit there. Again, no call.
Stats-wise, Pharisee is one of the better goaltenders in the league. He's all the way down, or all the way up at second place for the actual goals against ranking. So he's been playing really, really strong at having that many goals go against him, but he's able to really keep a team in it as well.
Big Blake Warner fired that one on net, and Clancy made the stop and froze the puck. So we'll get another offensive zone face-off for Maryland, which will be won by UNC-Wilmington. Dropping that one back off, trying to send it up. Seahawk player wasn't looking, Maryland player was, but a little neutral zone turnover. Backhander opportunity, and that was Carter Doherty. And as you mentioned it, that backhander can be tough for goalies to kind of adjust to and read off the fly like that. And Doherty tried it, and the goalie Pharisee was ready.
It's really coming off the back of the skate. Because of how they're curved in, it can really prove a challenge where the puck just kind of skips in a weird way, or sometimes even knuckles.
Did he keep this one in? No. They're going to say no, and this is a great breakout back the other way for Maryland, trying to hold the line there. I don't know that that's going to count as a shot. Actually, they did count it as a shot. Wasn't much of one. So Maryland gets a bit of an odd-looking backhander on the ice. Back to the point, excuse me. Shot on, that was deflected. Still loose. Going up to make that play, it's Levy. Kai Levy. And he wasn't able to hold on to it. Maryland sent it around. Still hasn't cleared, though. And finally they will.
That goal stopped by Pharisee there. You could watch his helmet, and you can basically see where his eyes were tracking that puck the entire time, not taking a moment to look away from it.
Maryland got a line change there. Puck then cleared out of the Seahawk zone. About 8 minutes to go here in the first period of action. Game number 2 here at the home of the Thunderbirds in Winston-Salem, FPHL. And this is the second of 4 games, so I hope that you'll stick with us for all of them. Coming up at 6 o'clock, Delaware and Rowan in the 1-8 game. And then we'll have the nightcap, Wake Forest and Penn State in the 3-6.
Wake Forest also playing a home game, as this is their rink that they play at every single time that they have one of those home games. So that could be an advantage that not many people were looking for.
Excited for that one, certainly. And again, a lot of folks have high expectations of that Penn State team as well. Shot on, and great block there, and that's going to lead to a play the other way potentially. That was Luke Nasoy, 5'9" junior from Hamburg, Germany. I hope I said it right. Considering my last name is Wiederspiel, I probably should have.
You think that's where the hamburger comes from?
Possibly. Got another big hit at center ice, and that one drew some oohs and ahs from the crowd. Couple of players go down, shot through traffic, doesn't get through. Trying to break this one out and does successfully. It's Logan Neal. Neal fires, blocked again. Maryland's defense continues to hold those shooting lanes.
Watch the physicality here as both teams get a lot of riled energy. This could lead to something big.
Ooh, Chris Lawson just tried to throw a hit and missed, and now we've got a whistle coming. Lawson was looking to do something to 5'9" defenseman Sean Ammon and missed, and we do have a whistle here. Let's see what I think offside is actually what this was. For a second I thought we had a penalty, but they have really let them play. They have let these two teams so far be pretty physical with one another.
Only one call on Maryland, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, on Bodie.
Correct, yes. Firing this one on. That one was off of a redirection. It looked like a drop pass, but I'm pretty sure it was accidental, and it winds up right on the stick of Chris Cuddy. That was a tough one there. That kind of handcuffed Pharisee for a moment there.
Yeah, he struggled a little bit after it hit basically up in the neck in the mask area. That can be scary for both the health of the player, but also if that puck bounces weirdly, you could lose it and it could turn out into a goal.
16 saves for him on 16 shots. Ooh, this one on top of the net after the initial save was made. There was a Maryland player in the crease. That was a pretty innocent-looking shot, and Clancy didn't really save it cleanly, got enough of it to pop it up into the air, and once that puck was on the netting, we got a whistle here, and boy, the tell you what, I know it's only game number 2. We're seeing some weird bounces in this one.
Oh, yeah. At the ACC Hockey Network tournament that they had back, the showcase that they had back in November, there were 2 goals that went in on one of the teams that just tipped up and over behind the goalie as he blows a tire there.
Oh, boy, he did make the save, though. It was a Unc-Willmington turnover, and we're going to get an icing here. A little bit of, I'm not sure what the complaint is, but looks like Lucas Moses is not really thrilled with the call. Not sure why. It looked pretty clear from here, but nonetheless, offensive zone face-off now for Maryland. And after I mentioned it, by the way, I didn't think they had one. They've had 3 in the last few minutes now, so baby steps in the right direction. Terrapins have started to look a little more dangerous offensively as the period has gone on. And I'll tell you what, you were right about that blown tire. I think the netminder, Clancy, something is going on with his skate.
Yeah, it looks like the strap's just on his skate, or at least on the pad for it. Oh, no, it looks like the laces of his skate just came out of the tongue of his shoe or of his skate and just went right behind and really tripped him up there.
We'll get another look at this here in just a moment. 6:01 to go here in the first, and this is, we believe, what happened. So he makes the save here, and then as he's going to plant, it looks like something happens with the skate, but
yeah, he just loses a little bit of his footing there as the cloth of the skate shoelace isn't really the best thing to skate on ice. Normally you like those blades nice and concave to be able to glide across the ice, and goalies definitely have a struggle with their equipment, and we've seen it time and time again, is sometimes even the puck gets caught in the equipment and they lose it. They've got so much padding on there that it can be a struggle to find those pucks.
Yeah, not many feeling sorry for the goalie, but the goalie union also not apologizing for all the padding either. Scoreless here, Alex Wiederspiel with you alongside Finn Trainer as we're bringing you the second of 4 games today in the quarterfinal round of the ACCHL playoffs, and it's winner go home. Trying to force this puck down low. Good defensive effort there as Caleb Craven sent it away. Back the other direction now. Seahawks in control. They're going to try and stretch the ice. Really excellent design there. But nothing available in the shooting lane. You can just see it there. Going to fire another one on, doesn't get through. Boy, if it's not one guy, if it's not Corey Levy, it's somebody else who cannot get a shot off.
It feels like Maryland has 6 players or even 10 players out on the ice just making a wall in front of their goalie. Pharisee, a very competent goalie in net. They are blocking everything just from a forward or defensive standpoint.
Well, kudos to Joe Carter. You can see him on the screen right now because the what makes it feel like there are so many guys on the ice is that they seem to know exactly what the shooting lanes are going to look like. And, you know, you're wondering from the Wilmington perspective, you might have to pick up your pace a little bit and start firing shots quicker because the longer you wait, the easier it's become for these big redwood trees for Maryland to get into the lane. Maybe a 2-on-1 opportunity here, and that time it's not a block, it's a missed pass. Still with the puck, though. Seahawks with a chance. Shot on and the save by Pharisee. As he gloves that one, Corey Levy couldn't beat him.
And again, like I said, competent goalie in net, flashes the leather and just grabs it right out of the air like you're watching something in spring training.
Boy, this has been a nice goalie duel to start here as UNC Wilmington wins the faceoff, but loses it right around the blue line, so this is sent deep and not too deep for an icing, so the Seahawks corral, regain, and looks like they want to set up their breakout here. Got deflected a few times by a few different players wearing different jerseys, so no icing. Trapped in the corner now. Good job, good support coming in to make the play. That was James' body. Wilmington forecheck forced a turnover, but hasn't done much with it. This one redirected, and twice, what a save from Pharisee. The first one might have been an accident. The second one might have just been pure reflex. Unbelievable. That is 19. That might have actually been save number 20. We'll see in a moment. That was unbelievable.
Whatever they're putting in his cereal to make that save is impressive, and I want some.
Wow.
Beautiful save there by Pharisee. Freshman, I keep thinking back to the fact that he's a first-year player here.
Yeah, the reflex, because again, I'm not sure that the first shot was a shot. It might have just been the puck just sort of kind of redirected his way. I don't think it was originally intended as a shot either, but then the second one was definitely a shot, and he was ready for it. Unbelievable here. Still scoreless. Ooh, and into the net.
Ow.
Yeah, Carter Doherty just got driven into the side of the netting there, and he seems okay. No call, and with the net off its moorings, that'll take the faceoff out of the zone here, down under 4 minutes to play.
Yeah, thankfully that netting is just a nice little cloth, but he got really driven around there. That's the risk of taking that play, is if you're not strong enough to beat your man, you can get driven into the goal, and sometimes if you run into the goalie itself, that can be a call, and you could go on the penalty kill there.
But you've been spot on, by the way, your scouting report of Doherty, his ability to, I mean, you see it right there. The whole way that play starts is him forcing a turnover in the corner, being able to retrieve a puck on the forecheck, and good effort from him. Not really the way I'm sure he wanted that play to end, but nonetheless, we continue here scoreless in the first period. Only game these two played this season, won by UNC Wilmington. As underneath the goal line, good hit laid there. Maryland chips this one back into the corner with no potential shooting lane. Working from the half wall, puck squirted free, and now it's Doherty once again. Lost the puck, but it doesn't leave the zone. Yet another shot block, and that time it's Eli Pretter.
I mean, what is going on with this Maryland team? They're in every single lane possible.
And now they've got an opportunity to develop a nice recovery effort from UNC Wilmington. There was a moment there, it looked like a 3-on-1. Then a turnover at the blue line, shot on, and a quick reaction save. That was Caleb Craven who fired it home. And I'll tell you what, we've been big on Pharisee. Clancy's been up to the task so far.
He really has, and he's managed to play the puck into the corners when it is needed, and that's the biggest thing that you want to see from goalies, is playing it into the sides of the boards, not straight in front of the net, because that can lead to turnover goals, and that can lead to quick rebound goals. So he's been really good at that front as well.
Good work by Brian Teske. You just saw him erase a forward for UNC Wilmington who was going in hot with speed, looking like they were going to be able to forecheck the heck out of that, and instead Teske ends the play, and now we're back on the UNC side. Teske's a guy, we haven't talked a lot about him as this puck goes out of the zone. This a delay of game? Or did it redirect?
I think they're just going to call it a redirection, which is a big win for Wilmington, because it did look like a little bit of some foul play there, but they were able to just kind of move along.
Yeah, so as I was saying, though, we haven't really had a chance to talk much about Teske. I feel like he hasn't had the puck a lot, but that was a great play there, and using his 6'4" frame to just completely erase anything. Shot on from distance. That does not get to the netminder wide. Maryland not quite able to retain control after the rebound, but Wilmington hasn't been able to clear it either. Going to knock this one off the boards. Wilmington needs to be careful. Almost went to that change too early. The alternate captain, Sean Ammon, sends up. Couldn't be handled. Back the other way. Here comes Wilmington. Shot on, and I don't think that one will. That actually should technically go down as a block, but that one not with the body, that with the stick.
Yeah, and we were talking about it earlier. We were a little worried that some pucks might make it up here. We've seen it in a couple of games all around the area that these premier teams play in. Is sometimes these pucks do fly up and they do go into the stands, and so we're definitely keeping our heads down a little bit. We have a nice big metal tube that protects us there from that.
Yeah, I think that's going to be our saving grace in this one. And apologies, my mistake earlier. These two teams actually did play twice. Wilmington won both of them 4-0 in the first meeting, 4-3 in the second meeting. And so noteworthy there as well, because Virginia Tech, we just saw, blew out High Point after losing both the first two regular season games against them. And so you wonder, does Maryland kind of have the same vibe at all here? And early on, I'd say so far, nice effort for them, in particular on the defensive side. You know, you look at it, they've given up 20 shots in this first period. I don't know how many of those have really been high danger.
Exactly. It seems like there's just been a lot more peppering from Wilmington. If they've gotten better looks in their offensive zone, but not many of these shots are really challenging the freshmen at all.
Yeah, Lucas Moses is stripped of the puck, and now Maryland with it over skates. Nice effort there from James Body. And we got a bit of a tie-up. This comes all the way back down. See who the two players were in just a moment. It was well behind the play. And again, no call, by the way. We've had a couple of these tie-ups, and the officials are letting them go.
I think they're definitely taking a little bit of a break from their whistles. Might be a little tired from that, as we had a lot of calls called in that Virginia Tech High Point game as well for both teams, but mainly for High Point.
Yeah, it was a march to the penalty box for a lot of that game, and that'll do it for the first period. So scoreless, not without action, though. There were a combined 30 shots in that first period, and the real story might be what Maryland has done in the defensive zone, Finn, because while they allowed 20 shots, you just hit the nail on the head a moment ago, a lot of it felt like peppering like the netminder rather than anything particularly high danger that you'd really think could lead to a goal.
And if you even take a look at just shots, not even ones that go on goal, they probably have somewhere around 40. The other 20 of those shots have gone into Maryland players who aren't even in the goal.
Yeah, I lost track of the number of times I said shot blocked. We're going to go ahead and take our first break of the intermission, though. It is scoreless here. A reminder that this is the second of 4 games here today at the Winston-Salem Ice Arena at the Winston-Salem Fairgrounds. And if you're not coming out here, you should, of course, tune in and watch all of these games. Some really good hockey, college hockey on display. Right now it is scoreless between number 7 Maryland and number 2 UNC Wilmington in this quarterfinal matchup at the end of the first period. We'll step aside and come back with some analysis on the other side. standing by with head coach of Maryland, Joe Carter. And, Coach, you look at the scoreboard and you say, wow, you gave up 20 shots in the first period, but the more you watch the way you guys played defensively, your guys were in front of a lot of shot attempts, and you created some offense off of some shot blocks. Talk a little bit about what your team has done in the defensive zone.
Yeah, I think the shots up there, they don't tell the story of this game so far. We really like the way we're playing right now. We're in good position. That's why we're blocking all those shots, and I feel like that's given us a lot of energy right now.
Defensively, you've played a really strong game, but offensively as well, you've had some really good looks. How have you guys been able to keep the puck in the offensive zone for Maryland and also make sure that you win those battles in the neutral zone?
Well, for us, a lot of it comes from our positioning and our forecheck and structure. We're trying really hard to stay above the puck and keep it in their end as much as possible. That really limits their rush chances. You'll see Wilmington is just flipping the puck out. That's the only breakout they have right now. So we're able to capitalize on some of those counterattack chances, and that's how we're getting our shots.
And now, obviously, we talked a little bit about what you guys have done blocking shots. The shots that have gotten through, it seems like anything that does get there, Pharisee is not just good and not just doing his job, but he's been calm. He hasn't had to make any of those sort of 10-bell saves that impress fans but drive coaches crazy. He's looked really, really, I think calm would be the word I'd use to describe him in net.
I think that's absolutely right. I don't know if you guys know this much about Pharisee, but he is a national championship winner. Last year, he won the U18 national champions with the Montgomery Ice Devils out of Montgomery, Maryland. He's an experienced goalie. He knows what he's doing. He's cool, calm, and collected, and that energy really feeds through the rest of our team. We feed off of him.
Very good, Coach. Good luck the rest of the way. We'll talk with you again soon.
Thank you.
That's Coach Joe Carter, and boy, I mean, no surprise on Pharisee there, the way he looks and the way he has looked in that period. Again, cleaning up again, I wouldn't even really call them defensive mistakes. The word that continues to come to mind is the one that you used, pepper. They are peppering the net. They are trying to find seemingly anything they can on the Wilmington side. And that does work against lesser goalies from time to time. Pharisee has been totally game for it.
Oh, yeah. I think a lot of that might just come from the fact that Wilmington really hasn't played a game in a very long time. Their last game was January 18th. So a lot of that time might have just been spent practicing. And when you're practicing not against a real live team, sometimes you get in the habit of shooting some of those shots that aren't as creative as you really need them to be to get past a goalie like Pharisee. That
does make me question about the pace of play again, where Maryland is in seemingly every shooting lane. You do wonder how much of that lack of play time and lack of real game action drives them to be maybe a little bit, even just like a quarter second to half second behind when you want to be shooting versus when you actually are shooting. But these are all questions we'll get answered coming up here in the next couple of minutes. We'll step aside as this is game number 2 here at the ACC Hockey League playoffs in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Stepping aside and back in just a moment, scoreless after 1 on the AAU+. You heard it from Coach Joe Carter just a few moments ago. He doesn't think the shots tell the story, and I'm inclined to agree with him. 20-10 in that first period, UNC Wilmington with the shot advantage, and certainly had the puck a fair bit. The issue is that on the most high-danger stuff, Maryland constantly getting in the shooting lanes and a couple of times forcing turnovers, taking it the other way, and leading to some high-danger chances. And credit on the UNC Wilmington side to their goaltender, Dylan Clancy, another freshman. And I know we've spent a lot of time talking about one freshman netminder. Well, the other freshman netminder's been pretty darn good in this one as well, as Clancy's had to stop a couple of really big opportunities. And that's essentially the story of the first period, is that this has been a duel between two young goalies who are playing really well.
Yeah, both of them have just seen the puck through and through, and they've had a lot of help from their defenders as well. But even those ones that you were saying that kind of squeak on by, they've been able to stop with some really good speed. Sometimes those pucks can bounce and rebound, and that can really be a tell of if a goalie is as a veteran or not. It seems like these two freshmen who shouldn't be a veteran goalie, they are, and they've been in these situations before. We've seen from Pharisee as well. He was one of the championship goalies for the U18, the Ice Devils in Montgomery County. It's impressive what they can do.
So Alex Wiederspiel and Finn Trainer here with you from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and we talked a little bit in that first period about the physicality. It was a pretty physical first period, and both these teams, you can see it here on the screen, just throwing hits. Really good one right there, and it was a battle back and forth, but it got a little chippy, and the officials kind of let them play.
Yeah, I think a lot of that comes from the fact that this is a tournament game. They don't want to call too many things too early, because then that can really determine which game is won for either team. It can be especially difficult for a ref when you start calling too many calls for one team, and then you have to start making makeup calls, and then that's where it starts to become really gray and really rough, and that can be a tell for a game winning back and forth.
You just saw it, by the way, moments ago. Number 18 on Maryland, Brian Teskey, who just completely erased an entire play below the red line, and it was a great effort from him. And, of course, being their top defender, 22 points this season, top scoring defender, and you'd think, the reputation guys get when they can score from the blue line, that guy can't really defend. He's basically just a forward back there. That is not the case with the 6'4", 200-pound Teskey. That guy can most certainly defend.
We saw stuff like that in the Virginia Tech High Point game. J.H. Lagas was the defensive player of the year for this league, and we see the same thing here in Maryland as well, where the defensive players have been really strong at that blue line, and that's what you want from these players, is not just a defensive threat, but also an offensive one as well.
We're about 90 seconds away from the start of the second period, so I'll tell you what, we'll take one very short break and come back right after this with the start of the second period right here on AAU Plus and YouTube. The number 7 seed Maryland Terrapins scoreless here with number 2 UNC Wilmington. And as my colleague Finn Trainer noted, UNC Wilmington didn't get a chance to play a lot of games the back half of January. A lot of that likely weather related. When you go through kind of the geographic locations of where they were playing, it's been a pretty brutal month in most of the United States weather-wise, and certainly the southeast and mid-Atlantic regions not spared in that regard. But as a result, only 16 games played by the Seahawks. They won 14 of them, only lost a single one in regulation, and yet a team that might be the favorite to win this entire tournament is having some issues getting through a Maryland team that in the defensive zone has just completely locked down their ability to create high-danger stuff and limiting them to stuff from the outside.
Yeah, definitely the weather got to them a little bit with those games, like you said. As a meteorology major over at Virginia Tech, it's definitely an interesting thing to look at.
Busy couple weeks for you, huh?
Busy couple weeks, yeah. A lot of people have been texting me saying, hey, what's the weather going to be like? Is there going to be snow? And I'm like, yep, it will be. So definitely a problem for Wilmington, but I think that this could be the deciding factor for this period as well. If they can come out of that locker room seeing the mistakes that they made in that first period and change all of them, that can be the nail on the head to turn this game around for either team.
Second period officially underway. UNC Wilmington will win the face-off, and I think some kudos in order. One of the things that they did well, they broke out the puck reasonably well, got plenty of possession. Again, it's just a matter of and we talk about this a lot with a team like the Carolina Hurricanes, obviously very popular in this area. But the Carolina Hurricanes, they excel at creating possession. They don't always excel at turning possession into goals, and that's usually the big challenge there. Of course, Carolina in the midst of a terrific season right now as this one fired on net from the blue line wide. Another shot on sticked away, and this will be cleared. Now it will be cleared, and then immediately sent back in.
Couple of weird bounces in this game. We saw one almost go in just off the top of the goal. So something to look out for as these teams play is how they can react to that inconsistency of the ice.
UNC Wilmington, nobody home at the point there. So the puck comes all the way out of the zone. I think they were mid-line change there and hadn't gone through it fast enough. Alex Bracey had to chase it down. Puck is loose, skittering around. Nobody can seem to get it. Finally, UNC Wilmington does after it flipped over a Maryland stick. Believe that was Tommy Pilkington, who was in excellent position to make a play there, but puck just skirted right over. This one bounced off the board and might be an icing. Waved off. No icing call here.
The weird thing that always gets tricky with an icing call is it's not actually the goal line, it's the two face-off dots, and sometimes that can change an icing call like that.
Trying to center this one in front, gets redirected and hopped all the way back to the blue line. Seahawks with possession, good clean breakout there. Going to fire one from distance, not a problem for Pharisee, and again, haven't seen the shot blocking, but it has still been kind of the same story with shooting from distance, and I just don't know that they're going to beat Pharisee that way. And this one actually might be and is icing.
Yeah, Pharisee has been really strong whenever those pucks come right at him, and that's always something that you like to see. It was very, very good how he played that. He played it right in front of him, which normally that rebound can be very tricky, very dangerous, but he saw that he had 5 Terrapins in front of him, and he just realized that's the best place to play this instead of out into the corner where it would take longer to get it out of our zone.
Offensive zone face-off for UNC Wilmington as a result. Firing this one right off the face-off, did not get through. At the blue line, sent back deep. Good job stepping in front of that one by the Maryland defender to make that play. That was their third pair defenseman, Eli Petter. We talked about him a fair bit in the first period. 2-on-1 opportunity developing, and that one nearly slipped through. Intended as a pass on the 2-on-1, came off the stick wrong, and good job by the goaltender Clancy as he had to be very alert to that play.
Yeah, the great steal off in the defensive zone, and then that pass trying to look for Doherty, but it just goes a little bit south just because of that stick by Wilmington, able to break up the play really nicely.
That was Grant Warner who was looking to make that pass on the 2-on-1. So still we are scoreless. Nobody has been able to find that first goal. Maryland offside here, so they're going to have to tag back up.
We were talking about Wilmington not playing that many games, and if you actually look back at the last 2 games that they played, like we said, January 18th and January 17th, they were in this building against Wake Forest. They ended up beating Wake Forest really strongly in the first game. That second game, they lost in overtime. So they have been here recently. It's just been almost a month.
It's a challenge when you can't get on the ice. As always, player goes down, no call. Another big hit thrown. Little reverse hit action there. Puck sent back behind by UNC Wilmington. Another player goes down. This is a 1-on-3 opportunity, and fighting through the backhander. Good work by Pharisee to fight that one off. Boy, again, the physicality has been on display for all to see. Get a replay of it here. Look at that big hit from, it was Chris Cuddy who threw that one for Wilmington, and then immediately after, Blake Warner. That's a guy you don't want to get hit by. 6'7", 230 pounds, no thanks.
Exactly. That's the scary thing about taking one hit, is it could lead to a retribution hit, and Wilmington almost gets a chance. Oh,
that was covered up. Let's see, there was a little extracurricular activity.
Exchanging a few words that their mothers probably would not be very happy about, but...
And you know what? The officials don't mind.
Very night and day compared to the last game. A lot of calls that were a little light, a little loose got called, but for this one, it seems like they're just letting everything go. As long as it's not a direct danger to the player, they're keeping it a clean game.
I think Virginia Tech had their 7th power play by this point in the game, or close to this point in the game. And here, not so much the case. As shot doesn't quite get through from the point. That was Teskey. Puck loose in the slot, gets this one away. Going to try to go cross ice, no offside. Puck flipped across and then cleared by Maryland.
Neal practically did the splits to keep himself on sides. That's some impressive flexibility from the man.
Good forecheck here from Maryland. Nice move to keep this in play. Late change coming there. Shot on and a little taste of their own medicine. Good block there. That was Luke Nasoy.
Dump in there, blocked by the Terrapins. That seemed to, it doesn't even matter.
Wow, there's what looks like, I think, maybe the biggest miss we've seen so far. That looked like a clear trip to me, but instead, not the case. Well, should be an offside call here. Boy, that was, I think that one was pretty blatant, but we'll see it again here. And I'm not big on criticizing the referees, but that's probably one you should call.
Stick right to the leg, right to the ankle in an obvious motion of not really playing the puck and really just playing the man. That definitely is a missed call for the refs, but
it happens.
It does.
Yeah. It is just funny, night and day, the difference between the first and the second game. That was Schraebman who went down. And I think the probable argument, if you're saying that's not a penalty, is he went down a little easy. I think in that scenario, I think that's tough to keep your feet there. But nonetheless, shot on from far away again. Puck is loose on a second chance opportunity after the first save. In the slot, shot doesn't get through. Maryland with some numbers now, moving back the other way. This is Schraebman, lost the puck, and this is flipped out of danger.
Very, very costly opportunity for Wilmington, as they really could have had an easy shot there. It didn't seem like Pharisee had a bead on the puck. Just weren't able to capitalize on it.
So here comes Maryland again. This is Pilkington. He can't get through the defense. Nice job stealing that puck away. And Seahawks back the other way, but not for long here. Good forechecking effort from Nolan Tabraham. Senior defender is pinching in deep. Maryland will be able to get this away, though. Here's Warner. He's weaving. Warner lost the puck, but going to come back to a Maryland player. James Romps couldn't make the play. Romps sends this one across the half wall and then lost right by the Flow logo. Ooh, Grant Warner going to probably want that one back.
Costly turnovers like that can be the nail in the coffin, but Maryland easily able to recollect their emotions and recollect everything that happened and turn it back into a possession here as they get their way out of their own zone.
By the way, 30 shots combined in the first 20 minutes of this game. There have been 4 combined shots in the 7 minutes and 4 seconds since then. And in a manner of speaking, that doesn't completely surprise me, because I wonder to a certain extent if UNC Wilmington has said, hey, we might need to try making the extra pass because we're just not getting things through.
We've seen from a lot of teams where the extra pass can be the issue in a lot of scenarios, where you try and make that extra little one, and that can be the one that you miss. However, Wilmington needed to definitely take that extra one, as Pharisee is just locking down everything.
Yeah, he is, and we got some extracurricular stuff going on deep in the Maryland side. And still no penalties called.
They'll talk it out. Obviously, the language wasn't something that they were too negative again, and that's where that little bit of extracurriculars come from. The tap on the goalie's glove. Players will always defend their goalie in every scenario, especially on that one.
That last shot, by the way, from Biagio Pepe, and another shot that doesn't quite get through. Wilmington, though, backhander also doesn't get through. Again, Maryland doing a really nice job. Opportunity developing from the dot. That shot goes wide of the net. This one then saved by Pharisee. And all of a sudden, a quick couple of shots in succession there, but Pharisee continues to be perfect. He has stopped all 26. Hard hit down low from Caleb Craven. And now a battle in the corner.
Really physical playing back here, all the way deep in the other zone. A lot of back and forth. Another big hit.
They're just laying them out right now, and it's both ways. Here's Corey Levy.
And we're actually getting a second penalty of the game on Warner, as he probably an interference call as he ran into his man in front of him.
Well, that will put UNC Wilmington on the power play, and I didn't think we'd see another one.
I didn't either. It seemed like everything was really slow when it came to power plays. Finally, we get another one. And I say finally not as in I was hoping for one.
No,
but
it's a little tongue-in-cheek, because I thought eventually they might call another one. But I mean, with the amount that they let go, you know, the style of this game had kind of indicated
that we'd have a lot less.
Yeah, and we got the replay here trying to see exactly where the call was. I don't know if it was that late hit just a moment ago.
I believe it was further behind the play.
Yeah.
Another camera angle might be able to show it, but I think they're having a little bit of a chat about it as they have a timeout as well. Clear the ice off a little bit.
Yeah, we're under the 12-minute mark. We'll keep it here. So still scoreless, by the way. 26-11, the shot totals in favor of UNC Wilmington. As I think fair to say, Coach Joe Carter pointed out, shot totals don't really tell the story of this game. If there is a story to tell, I don't think the 26 tells the story. I think the 11 is the bigger story. Maryland has done they have defended better than the shot total against indicates, but they haven't created a lot themselves. And a lot of what they have done, I feel like we've seen, Finn, is that they have created off of some turnovers, but not necessarily converted that into chances.
Exactly. You're looking for Wilmington to make that extra pass. I think you're looking for Maryland to do either the same thing or a little bit less. Sometimes they haven't taken that extra shot. That is the tee-up that can get that team the first goal of the game. Power play for Wilmington has been really strong, though. 30.8%, which seems like a low percentage, but in hockey terms, for a power play, that's really good.
Yeah, no kidding. at the blue line, dancing the line, gets this one away, shot on. Don't think that one got through to the netminder. This was a hard rising shot from Lucas Moses.
They'll get another one from the bench, and we'll have another face-off here in the near side. This is where Wilmington needs to step it up a little bit. I feel like the face-off hasn't been going as well for them as they would be wanting.
And Colin Roberts did win that one, and they weren't able to convert it to a shot, though they are able to maintain possession. 5-on-4 opportunity for another minute, 20 seconds for Wilmington from the right dot, putting this one on. Still can't get it through. That one fired from the low slot. I don't think that actually got on net. Moses sends that one across. In the slot, shot fired, first save made, and then it landed on the stick of a Maryland Terrapin, and Travis Duchesne cleared it. Wow, I will tell you, again, puck luck is certainly a real thing, because Travis Duchesne, there were a couple of guys who could have gotten to it before him, and it kind of just bounces onto his stick. He's able to clear it, and UNC Wilmington has lost about 40 seconds of time since then.
Part of that also comes from a little bit of a misplay by Clancy. He came out of the net to try and play the puck.
That shot on good save there, yeah. Good save there. They're going to try from the point again, I think. No, get this over to the dot. Back to the point, one-timer. This one fanned on. At least partially fanned on. Going back to try and make the play is Colin Doherty. Shot on is wide. Still good possession here. Corey Levy now. Cross-ice pass, that one rolled up on the shooter, and I think Maryland is going to be able to break free here. And no call again.
Would have probably called a hooking, and they actually might be calling something
so now
here.
It's delayed offside. I thought so too. His hand went up, delayed offside. They could have potentially gotten to either a hook or an interference, and they didn't call either. This is starting to feel like the NHL playoffs here.
Yeah, especially like it's game one or game two, or even that final game of the series where nothing gets called.
Yeah. There's a study done a few years ago. I don't know folks who paid super close attention to it, but as the series goes on in the NHL playoffs, they tend to call fewer and fewer penalties as it goes. So the power play officially comes to an end for UNC Wilmington, and they got nothing on it. We are now under 9 minutes as Pharisee is going to glove this one and freeze it. So here's what I thought was a for sure hook here. Pepe on number 28 there for Maryland, and then without a stick, he takes a huge shot from Kai Levy. So that was Colin Doherty, but no call nonetheless. And again, I will say this, listen, officials have the hardest job in sports. I make no bones about that. I'm just lobbing from the cheap seats up here, but I thought you could have potentially called a hook there.
Lobbing from the cheap seats. I have never heard that one, but I might have to steal that for back at home.
So all yours. Feel free. I didn't come up with it, and can't claim credit to it. Maryland here underneath the red line. Good possession opportunity here. They just have not been able to convert their chances. This one rimmed around the glass. They have not been able to turn their chances into much. Another big tie-up down low, and players slow to get up there. That one looked more incidental than anything, and getting up very slowly. I believe that's Patrick Harnon. That's concerning. One of the top players for this Maryland team.
Yeah, it seemed like both players kind of just went down together and just got caught up in each other's skates and each other's legs. So it's good to see that they both checked on each other, too. They made sure that either one were okay and that they were safe, and then they skated off.
Yeah, and we have a replay of it as we're off that last Pharisee save. By the way, we're in a stoppage here. But, yeah, I think you're right on. The skates just get kind of tied up.
Maybe not. A little bit of a
actually
pull.
Upon second look, that might have been a little meaner than initially thought. Pharisee makes another one.
Thankfully, though, Kane did check on him afterwards as he realized that was a pretty big drop there that could have been very dangerous for both players.
31 saves for Pharisee in this game. He has been really solid, rock solid in net. As this is chipped in deep. Giving chase, that was Blake Warner. Puck comes back to UNC Wilmington. See if they can create some opportunity. A pass in the seam, backhander, that one wide of the net. Well, so now the bigger story might be the shots were first getting blocked. Now they're wide. This one gets on. Ooh, and then a little extracurricular activity at the end. And you can see it. UNC Wilmington is trying to get bodies to the net. Pharisee makes the save. I don't know if there was contact, a little brush at the end of the play there, and it leads to a brush up right after.
And Lawson just went hard into the boards there as he skates off, maybe get a little bit of a breather here. As after that shot goes in, he skates down to the net, trying to stuff that in, and he just gets a little bit of a push into the boards.
You know, it's a dangerous play in the sense that it's not good that he went into the boards. I don't know that anyone would fault Caleb Craven for standing up for his netminder.
Exactly, yeah. It's always the strength of a team if you can see how much chemistry there is if they stick up for their goalie.
Maryland has had a hard time doing much offensively. Still just a single shot in the period, and number 2 is in the net off of a completely broken play.
And that will be one that they might want to take a look at, as I believe it did squeak right under the padding of the netminder for Wilmington. Clancy, again, those pads can be great for stopping and great for protection of your legs, but sometimes it can squeak by, and that could be the turning point for both of these teams.
This is Luke Mohan. This is unbelievable here. That is the absolute definition of puck luck, and then watch it land on Luke Mohan's stick. The keeper has no idea where it is. That is a brutal way to give up a first goal for the freshman Clancy. And Mohan has the goal. And look, sometimes you just got to be opportunistic. But how about this? Second game in a row where the lower seed has a lead in the second period. 5 seed won the first game. Virginia Tech upsetting High Point after losing twice to High Point during the regular season. Maryland on top 1-0 against UNC Wilmington here in the second period after losing twice in the regular season to UNC Wilmington.
If you would have told me that we would have been almost 6 minutes left in the second period and there would be 1 goal and 2 power plays, I would have thought you were crazy.
And yeah, that has been the story of the game so far. Maryland with some open ice for a little breakout here. Puck got caught up in the skates of Schrademan. This one fired into the gut of a Seahawk player, Logan Neal.
Hockey, just like lacrosse, a game of runs. 1 goal can really start a team going, and that's what Maryland is looking for. Wilmington, on the other hand, is looking to stop the bleeding. I know it's just 1 goal, but stop the bleeding and turn it the other way.
Well, because the one thing you don't want, let's say you are UNC Wilmington here, is this is a terrific defensive play to break up that rush. Great stick work there. And it was, I wanted to make sure I caught it, was Sean Eamon who made that last play, by the way, to break up the last Wilmington rush. But around the net, that's Pharisee. The point that I wanted to make, though, is that let's say you're UNC Wilmington, right? Let's say you're Jeff Strohecker, and your thought is, we feel like we've played the better game. And maybe they do feel that way because they've had the possession advantage. But you never want to be in a position where you're down having played the better game, because what happens if the other team adjusts all of a sudden and they start playing the better game? It's a lot bigger hill to climb at that point. So it's a tough spot to be in if you're UNC Wilmington. You feel like your process has been good. And I think for Maryland, I think their process has also been pretty good. Again, we talked about it. The shot blocking has been terrific, and I think it's a little in the head of these Seahawks at the moment.
I think it's definitely a tale of what they can control. And I think the Maryland Terrapins know that they can control the possession if it's in their defensive end. And that's where they have been playing the strongest, because they know that they're comfortable there. They know what they can do. They know what stats they can put up. And then when they get in the offensive zone, they just try and see if something will work.
Teskey retrieved the puck after the icing. He heads back to the bench. And it'll be an O-zone face-off for Maryland. They send out the fourth line here, anchored by Chase Wilson. Maybe going to try and grind something out here. Puck went out of play and went off of the glass and into the Maryland bench. So 1-0, 4:15 to go here in the second period. Alex Wiederspiel alongside Finn Trainer. Right here on AAU Plus. We thank you for joining us. We hope you'll join us for every game we've got in this tournament. Delaware and Rowan coming up next. It's an interesting Rowan team and one that has had moments of just being absolutely red hot this season. They come in as, of course, the number one seed in this tournament. I got a chance to catch up with their assistant coach, Ian Cluey, who really talked a lot about how good that team is. And we are going to get a call coming here. Into the boards.
They will call a trip here on Maryland as they will send.
I think they're going to get Eli Petter.
Yeah, he'll go to the sin bin here for the third penalty. Third penalty has been Maryland. So Maryland has been the team that has been taking the most amount of calls. We'll see that
one
penalty
looks,
here.
I think that one looks pretty good.
Yeah, a little bit of a drive, playing the player, not the puck, as just gets that stick right up and under the skate, and that's an easy call for the refs to make, and I think it's the correct one to make, to slow things down and remind these teams that they need to chill out a little bit.
That was Kai Levy who went down and drew the penalty. So off the start of the power play, a clear. UNC Wilmington recaptures the zone now. Corey Levy got it down low. Back out to Zach Ons. He's been quiet today. Cross-ice pass, looking for the equalizer here. Fired on. That one didn't get through to Pharisee. And cleared again. So 2 clears on this penalty kill for Maryland as James Romps lost a... For a second there, I was worried he lost a stick blade, or skate blade, excuse me, but he seems to be okay. Firing this one around, retrieving, back out to Levi at the point. Down low to the red line, working now half wall. Levi back to the point. Levi sends just outside that far dot. Misplayed, back to Levi. Levi to Levi. Shot was deflected off of a player. Didn't get through to the netminder. Down low into the slot. Opportunity fired on. Pharisee made the save.
Pharisee watched that entire time. He knew where it was going, and that's an impressive save to make. So many bodies in front of the net, just screening the goalie, and he's still able to watch it as it gets passed off to the center. We'll take another look here. Gets right to the center, right in front of the goal, but actually just goes right by and wide, and another Wilmington player able to pick that up and make a great shot on Pharisee.
Screened even by one of his own defensemen, and he makes a really great play there to cut off the angle. This one fired on, and he lost his stick. Puck's not in the net, but now the netminder without his stick, and no chance for a teammate to get it back to him. Firing one on. That one is wide. Opportunity here for UNC Wilmington. 5-on-4. And I thought Pharisee covered it. They said no the second time he does. 15 seconds left on this power play.
And if you look at the goalie right there as he hands his stick back, or the not his stick, sorry, the stick of Maryland players, Amon, right back to him. He was playing with a forward stick, not even with a goaltender.
You're right. I didn't
stick.
even notice that someone gave him a forward stick. Wow. That is legal?
Yes.
Okay, I've never been sure about that.
The weird thing is the goalie is not allowed to pick up his own. A player can't pick up the stick and give it to him, so they have to kind of push it over to the goalie. But he's able to make that stop, and we're still on a power play for Wilmington.
Final seconds, down to 5 seconds. Wilmington player goes down, hard hit. And now trying to skate this one out is Warner. He couldn't quite clear it, but the power play is over. Opportunity developing, shot on, I'm not sure if it got through. It was either redirected by the netminder or a player in front. Either way, not into the back of the net. We're down to the final 100 seconds of this second period.
Wilmington really looking for another opportunity here as Maryland has really controlled the chaos of this game. Wilmington, however, has been able to stay in their own zone and kept it clean and calm, but Maryland has been the team that has been better when it comes to those weird plays, those weird bounces.
Trading it back and forth, turnover after turnover here in the neutral zone. Finally, Levy comes up with it for Wilmington. Pass into the slot, trying to weave, shot on, and goalie might have got a piece of that one. Into the corner, flipped behind the net. And Maryland not quite able to clear this one. That will finally get out.
And they'll call a hand pass there on Wilmington as a little bit too fast there. He grabs the puck out of the air, and he's not the one to play it back. We'll get another face-off here. That's where I feel like Wilmington keep running into those issues where the simple mistakes are the reason that they're not as high up in scoring as I think they would like to be. I mean, 38.
Yeah, 38 shots. Well, that hand pass is going to lead to an offensive zone faceoff for Maryland that they are unable to capitalize on, and now working the other direction. This is Doherty. He went down. Carter Doherty, as I have to remind folks, not Colin. Another shot attempt fired on, never got through. Down to the final 30 seconds. Flipped out with the backhand, trying to give chase, and couldn't quite get there. Travis Duchesne, as he was held up. Long pass, and this will be an icing, as just able to get in there in time is Sean Amon. Jeff Strohecker has got to be wondering at this point, what's his team got to do to get a goal?
Exactly. It's really an interesting story, like you said. Wilmington is the number 2 seed, and Maryland is number 7. So realistically, Wilmington should be up, but they haven't been able to capitalize, and really that's all based on the defensemen in the Maryland bench and also the goaltender as well.
Well, it was a slower at times second period. They still wind up with 18 shots. Can they get one more on here in the final seconds of this one? They will not, but 20 shots in the first, 18 in the second. The bigger number is the goose egg. No one has been able to solve the freshman netminder, Jack Pharisee. And after 2, it is 1-0 Maryland. And of course, in the most hockey play and hockey way imaginable, it was off of a busted, broken play in the offensive zone where the goalie is looking the wrong direction behind the net, and the puck takes a weird bounce, and opportunistically Maryland puts it in. And again, to Maryland's credit, I think defensively they've been mostly pretty good. You know, sometimes that's how you got to put goals in, is using that opportunistic nature. They lead 1-0.
Like I said, chaos has been the home playing field for Maryland throughout a lot of the season, but especially in this game. They have gotten the better looks off of those weird bounces, and that is the reason that they are up in this game. Wilmington, again, with that long of a break where they're practicing a lot more, they're probably not as used to those weird bounces, the weird plays, playing against a team that is unpredictable because they're not your own.
So that'll take us to a break. Second intermission here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Second game of the tournament, ACC HL playoffs, Maryland and UNC Wilmington. Right now, it's the Terrapins on top of the Seahawks, 1-0. We'll be back here in just a few minutes with more analysis coming up. Back here at Winston-Salem Fairgrounds Ice Arena, home of the Thunderbirds. Alex Wiederspiel here alongside Finn Trainer. And only one goal to speak of. Game number one was full of power plays and goals. Game number two full of saves and blocked shots. It is 1-0 off of a broken play that Maryland scored on, and incredibly very opportunistic by Luke Mohan. You can see here as this play develops. This is not, I think this winds up being an unassisted goal. Yeah, the last player to touch it is Wilmington, and then Mohan makes the play, and that's what you're looking for when we talk about opportunity.
It's those weird bounces off of the backboards that can really change a game for a team. We've seen it here with Maryland. We've seen it with every team in any league that you talk about, and that's really where the secret of chaos has been shining for Maryland. I keep talking about it because it's very prevalent. Able to get that goal is not something that you work up in practice. It's something that happens just throughout the game, and using that intuition, a little bit of that adrenaline that you get from playing games that can help you push one of those in and really work off of the improvisation that you really need to draw from plays like that.
So one unassisted goal, that's all we've got. That's the difference. And now the question is, what will Maryland need to do to preserve that lead in the third period? I don't know how comfortable they can feel right now. Do they put this game on the goaltender's pads and say, go win it for us? Or do they say, we got to go find another goal and get us an insurance marker at bare minimum? That'll be a question among many that we'll look to when we come back here during the second intermission of this ACC-HL quarterfinal game. 1-0 Maryland leading 2-seed UNC Wilmington. Could an upset be in the works? We'll find out back in a moment here on AAU Plus and YouTube. Got a little clarification during the intermission. So the bracket image is just an image. As it turns out, that's just a little art project. It's a good-looking one. Depending on how this goes, they will actually reseed. The bracket is only accurate in the instance when the higher seeds win, and of course, that would be if all the higher seeds win, and from here on out, the bracket would still be viable since Virginia Tech would become the lowest seed. But as it turns out, they will reseed, and so since we're in a situation here where the 7 seed is currently leading the 2, how about that turn of events? That could change who Virginia Tech winds up playing after they got that win against High Point. So instead of potentially playing the winner of Rowan, Delaware, Virginia Tech could wind up playing either Penn State or Wake Forest, depending on how things work out. In theory, they could also play Delaware. That would depend on if all the lower seeds won. Who's to say at this point? We won't know till the end of the night, but as we get started here with the third period, Alex Wiederspiel and Finn Trainer here with you on AAU Plus. Welcome back in, everybody. Thanks for being here. That was a fun little piece of information, a little tidbit there. Not what I was expecting to hear.
Definitely something scary for all teams, as there's a little bit of that uncertainty that can come into a weekend. You might have actually looked at the bracket and been like, okay, these are the teams that we're going to be playing. Here's how we prepare. But you might not know that now, as you have to wait for that final game to end somewhere around 11:30 at night tonight. Once that game is done, then you know how to prepare for that next team. And for some of these teams, especially Virginia Tech versus Penn State, that is a storied rivalry, as that was the championship game of last year that ended in an upset for Virginia Tech.
I would hope that the teams knew, and we just were the ones who didn't. But
yes,
nonetheless, it is early stages of the third. We already had a big physical hit and no call. This one has been a battle. This one has been a war of attrition. And despite the shot lead, UNC-Wilmington trails to Maryland 1-0.
If you're a Wilmington fan, you might have been worried that maybe they plateaued a little too early than you would have liked, sitting at where they thought they needed to be coming into this tournament and not realizing that the teams that they're going to play are still strong teams.
It's also just sometimes there's also the element of the goalie can't be beat, and that has been the story today on the Maryland side, where Jack Pharisee has been outstanding in this one. 39 saves on 39 shots. He has been excellent, but early stages here, this feels more like a boxer here in the early stages of this third period. Two boxers feeling each other out.
Already getting one knockout, I think that's right.
And there's another one, another big hit right at the blue line there. Luke Mohan, who has the only goal of this game. Good job lowering the shoulder there.
Tried to make a boxing reference there, and then I forgot that I don't watch boxing.
Well, that's okay. We won't hold it against you, as Maryland attempting the breakout here. Good effort from UNC-Wilmington. Nice positioned play. That was Woody Reichelt, formerly of University of Vermont, Division II in the ACHA. This one chipped on net and then chipped away by the netminder. Still a lot of disappointment in that in that second period. That first goal allowed. Clancy had been really good in limited action. He had faced some high danger chances in the first, didn't face much in the second, and then just a bit of an oddball play, an unassisted goal, is another save there for Pharisee. Good puck movement here. Going to put this one down low. They're setting this up like it's a power play here. Look at this low to high action. Shot on. That one was redirected away from the net. Another attempted shot. That one didn't get through. And tied up in the corner now. Came out, shot on. This rose too far out of play for Reichelt.
We've seen a lot of those battles in the corners that Maryland has seemingly been able to come up with. That one a little bit different, as Wilmington does get the edge on this, and a shot that just might have been needed to be pulled a little closer to the feet to make that shot. Something that you see a lot of the younger players in the NHL using is they're able to flex that stick and pull it in for a little bit of a toe drag and get the goal.
There was a little pressure by the Maryland defender at the end of that play as well. Wonder if that at all led to the shot kind of rising on him a little bit more. But that one nearly got through. Nice pass through the slot. And still danger here. The Seahawks trying to put some pressure on. This is Kai Levy. His shot deflected behind the net. Puck comes loose. And kudos to this Seahawk team. They have certainly had the effort part of it down. That has not been the issue in this game. As finally coming up with this one is Brian Teske. He'll flip this up. Teske tried to flip that one intended for Patrick Harnon, and that might have had just a smidge too much on it.
I'm going to be questioning that call a little bit, as I believe that really was a close icing call. Maybe just because of where the puck was, they'll give it to the Seahawks, but that's a weird one.
And immediately cleared again, and this will not be icing here as the netminder goes back to play it.
We're watching as Maryland, again, not really in the offensive zone as much as I think that their coach would really want to, but he's definitely happy with the score right now.
A little bit of a misplay there. Clancy has to come all the way out of his crease to cover that up. And again, there is also this element of, in a game as tight as this one, you just don't want any mistake. Certainly don't want any more mistakes to be the issue, but battle of freshman netminders. And right now it's Maryland's goaltender who has won that battle. The question is, who will win the war? A little backhanded pass through the slot, didn't get through, and then Maryland chips this up. They have numbers, 3-on-2, opportunity, backhanded pass goes under the stick of the intended target, Pilkington.
And that might have been it. That, even just a two-goal lead.
He knew it too. Did you see his reaction after? Slammed that stick on the ice. He knew it.
Like you said, this game is so close, and it's really coming down to the wire of who's capitalizing on the mistakes, and it seems like Maryland is the one to do it. Wilmington not really able to find the fact that Maryland has made a good bunch of mistakes here. Not able to capitalize, however.
Well, and on that one, that was Wilmington's mistake that Maryland doesn't capitalize on. But that is the name of the game, ultimately at day's end in most sports, but certainly in this one. It's who capitalizes on the most mistakes. And that's a terrific play. Tommy Pilkington couldn't get the goal there. Back-to-back blocked shots for Maryland. Pilkington with the first, Mohan with the second, a third block shot for Maryland. They're still not able to get this one out, and finally there it is.
And that has been the story of this game. The forwards and the defensemen for Maryland have been able to stop so many shots. Wilmington might have upwards of around 60, maybe 70 shots just going towards the net, but they all haven't gotten to the goalie.
That has most certainly been the story of this one. And we've been treated to a good one here through nearly 2.5 periods of action. This one fired down behind the net. No play for Pharisee. Maryland mid-change here. This one went off the stick of a Seahawk player. Otherwise, I think that would have been icing. Nonetheless, UNC Wilmington going to try to move the other way. That one got caught in the skates of Reichelt. He lost the puck. Ryan Teske now got it away. And I think we are going to get another icing coming here. And that is indeed the call. So, Maryland, I will say this. They have come out in this third maybe a little sloppier than expected. Is that icing number 3 here of the third period for Maryland?
I would agree. I think a little bit of the lead might have gotten to them. It still is a close game, but a little bit of that comfortability has definitely settled into Maryland, and that's not something you really want to see in a tournament-style game where you could be going home. For Maryland, that's a long drive. For Wilmington, they're pretty close by.
Good effort there out of the zone. Skates Caleb Craven. Opportunity, and that one couldn't get a shot off in the slot. That has also been part of the story of this game. Maryland has gone for these sort of high-danger plays, but can't quite get the shot off in those moments. And, of course, they only have 14 on the day. It's quite the scrum, and finally coming out with this one is Levi. He's going to send this one up to Reichelt. Reichelt sends this one down, and Pharisee will play it. No, he'll leave it for one of his players. Ooh, that one might have been played with a high stick. No call. Going back the other way, it's Patrick Harnan. Harnan sent it deep. Clancy played it. Reichelt comes up with it off the stick and then gets bodied off the puck. Another good effort there in the defensive zone, and certainly for Maryland, that has been the story of this game. This one just kind of a random one fired on Patrick Harnan. I don't know if that was an attempt to get it deep or fired on net. Either way, a save needed to be made, and Harnan should get credit for a shot there because the netminder did have to make a save, but long stretch pass going to lead to an icing, and that feels like a big mistake for the Seahawks. They did not credit him with a shot, by the way, so nonetheless, it will lead to an opportunity for Maryland here. They will get an offensive zone faceoff. Not many of those to be had in this third period for Maryland.
Exactly. It has really been a story for throughout the entire game, but even when they do get one, they seem to be the winners of the faceoff.
Which they just were there. Didn't get the shot through, though. Wilmington, little taste of Maryland's own medicine with that shot block. But the bigger issue now is time is not the friend of the Seahawks, as that one does not get through. Chasing this one down, turnover forced. UNC Wilmington's got it at the blue line. Back down under. That one took a wild bounce off the glass, off the side of the net now. Trying to backhand this one through the slot. Hit off the side of the net once again.
Nifty pass there through the legs and off to the races.
Boy, very physical down there. And finally, it looks like Kane came up with it for the Seahawks, but they have not cleared this out of danger yet. Interesting, though, not putting as much pressure on. Grant Warner pulled off there and went towards the net. Wonder if there is a thought process of, hey, look, we want to score a goal. We'd love to get an insurance goal, but it's got to be at the right time, and it's got to be in the right circumstance. Don't get anything too aggressive, as Petter's shot is wide.
You can see a lot of communication struggles between both of these teams there, as that puck was dumped all the way around, but no one was really home to pick it up. We see that a lot going throughout this game, as it seems like the passes aren't going to the right people because they're not communicating about it.
Able to keep this one in the zone, flip it with a backhand. Good, strong play. No, good stick work there to knock that one out. And that was Colin Doherty who made the play for Maryland. Tied up a little bit here, some trouble for the UNC Wilmington, and now at the paint. Good diving effort there from Chris Lawson. He makes the play. That looked like danger developing for Maryland. Lawson snuffs it out.
I believe Lawson might have even taken that off the bucket, so for him to get back up and potentially start another push here.
This into the netting. There's a bad angle shot there, by the way, from Lucas Moses that I thought might have had a chance, but again, Pharisee has been cool as a cucumber. We'll step aside here as we've reached a media timeout. 1-0 still, 9:52 remaining in regulation. Will we have an equalizer, an insurance goal, or a thrilling finish of one? Back in a moment on AAU+. What will Jeff Strohecker dial up here in this ACC quarterfinal playoff game for UNC Wilmington? Can he dial up anything, or will the Maryland defensive play and goaltending effort just be too much? One thing worth noting is we're back underway here, 1-0 lead for Maryland. You and I were just talking about this off-air, Finn, that we kind of felt like UNC hasn't really had a lot of good looks in this third period, that really it's been, while Maryland has not had the puck anywhere near enough, opportunity developing here in the slot. We'll get back to this thought in just a moment. Back to the dot, shot on and gloved and saved. All right, let me finish this point here. It's plays like that. That's not a bad look, but it's not no one's going to sit around and say that's necessarily high danger. And I feel like that's been the story of the second was Pharisee took over the second period, and even when UNC Wilmington had those good looks, they couldn't convert. Now, I'm not really seeing the high danger stuff.
Exactly. Pharisee, we keep calling his name throughout this entire game. It seems like more than Clancy, but Clancy just hasn't seen as many shots. But Pharisee, like you said, in this period, the shots that he has seen have been easy. Easy for him to stop, easy for him to save. And Wilmington might be looking for the same thing that we talked about in the first, which they seem to do in the second, which was that extra pass, the extra one look. But Maryland has been able to get their sticks up in the passing lane to block those extra passes.
And here's a shot on, doesn't get through. Kai Levy did a great job to hold the line there, by the way, just a moment ago. Here's Levy. Oh, his pass through the crease. He had his man. It didn't connect with Carter Doherty. Would have been an easy backdoor goal.
Again, a little bit of miscommunication.
Levy's shot, that one goes wide. Back to the point, and a whistle coming. And I'll tell you what, is this an offensive zone penalty? Let's see. They blew the whistle while the Seahawks had the puck, and that's exactly what it is. Carter Doherty's going to the box. What a brutal time for that to occur. And now UNC Wilmington's got to kill this penalty, or they risk going down by 2 to this Maryland team that has played lockdown defensively in this third period.
And UNC Wilmington's player actually did go to the wrong box for a second. They haven't had a penalty this entire game, so the first one that they do get, they don't know where to go.
How about that? For the first time, an O-zone penalty, and now we get a chance to see what Maryland can do with the man advantage. Good work by Wilmington to break this one out, and I suspect they're going to be a little aggressive here, and Pharisee suspects the same thing, so he gloves this one, covers it up. We'll get a face-off coming in the Maryland zone with them on the power play. So this was the penalty here that they got on Doherty. See if we can see it. There it is. Top of your screen. Wow.
There's that interference call right there in the center where his chicken wing kind of just caught the Maryland Terrapin, and that interference, again, on a team that is losing by 1, this can make it a 2-0 game for Maryland with only 8 minutes left.
Felt like a desperation play and definitely a frustration play, but nonetheless, here we go. Big opportunity for Maryland to take advantage here. The Terrapins have every chance now to potentially put an insurance marker up. Have not been able to really establish the zone here. 45 seconds gone off of this power play. Eli Petter goes back to retrieve again. This is a very freshman-heavy Maryland team, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is the start of something potentially very special for them, as they have not looked like freshmen in this game. Pass up to the point. Shot on. That one didn't get through. Rebound. That one didn't get on target. And is it clear? Yes. Yeah, they said it was cleared, and that's going to be an offside. Tommy Pilkington touched it.
And just looking at some of the stats here, it seems like the Seahawks have the worst penalty kill in the league at the moment, sitting at 67.5%. So they really haven't had a lot of really great opportunities to succeed on the penalty kill. They have only 2 shorthanded goals, which on 40 times shorthanded is not something that you really want to see. And also with the amount of goals that have been scored against them in that, at 13...
67% is pretty brutal. Yeah, it's not great.
The The top team in the league actually being Ryder, the Bronx, at 83.5%.
Back to the point. Opportunity on net. Didn't get through. That one is loose and close, and I'm not sure an actual shot got on net there, but wow, the net was open.
Wilmington saved by luck there.
A little bit, yeah, as Craven's going to fire one on. That one hit a player in the shin. This one backhanded through the crease. Oh, and there is a player down for Maryland. Numbers opportunity here on the rush. Shot on. That one didn't get through. Fired on. Huge save from Pharisee. Net was open and then erased. Backhander. And wide. They're going to try and put another one on that wide as well. Everything is happening right now in the offensive zone.
I was about to say that lucky stop there might have been the thing that turns this game around for Wilmington, and it seems like it has. Pharisee having to come up big on that.
Well, that'll do it for the power play, so that's over. This is an unbelievable save from Pharisee here.
One block.
And the second one hits the side of the net. So, again, we talk about puck luck. That's just tough. The first save is great. The net is open. It would have been almost impossible as this next shot goes wide off the faceoff win. Oh, a little bit of trouble here for Pharisee. He made one save. Puck is loose behind the net now. They are battling for it, and I suspect we are about to get an interference call.
Either interference or a call for roughing. This one might be actually bumped up to a major just because of the severity of it, as number 18 for the Terrapins, Teske, kind of threw his defender into the boards there.
Well, let's see what they call. This is not a good time for a penalty. So Pharisee kind of got clipped by his own player a little bit, and yeah, you're right, you can see it. Yeah, he just kind of launches him.
They'll give him a holding call for 2 minutes, so a lucky break for Maryland, but Wilmington has really ridden a little bit of some good emotion, some good luck here, so this could be the tying goal here.
Just killed a huge penalty. Now can they add on the other side of special teams? From the dot, shot on, redirected wide. Big opportunity here for Logan Neal and the Seahawks. From the high slot, another shot, another one that gets redirected away from the net. Back to the blue line, center of the blue line, back down towards the dot. A little bit mishandled, but nice stick handling back. From the dot, shot on, wide again. That was Neal. Back to Neal. He'll act as a throughway. He peels off. Shot on. Ooh, that one was awfully close. Once again, doesn't get on net. Took a couple of funny ping pong bounces. Opportunity here. This is Doherty. Doherty behind the net. Doherty working from low to high. Moses fires that one wide.
Lawson playing really well in front of the net, just screening the goalie completely. Sometimes it seems like Pharisee's mask is in the back of Lawson.
45 seconds to go. No clear there. Moses. Centered. Was saved. I don't know if it was actually a shot, but it was saved by Pharisee. Opportunity in front. That one didn't get through. Hit the side of the net as well. From the bad angle. And this might be the winner for Maryland, and they're able to fire it down. And boy, they survived down to the final 15 seconds of the power play. But nice possession for UNC Wilmington. Maryland able to survive. Ooh, a bad deflection, or a bad redirection, I should say, leads to a shot, and Pharisee smothers it. And even just look at him coming out of his crease, cutting off the angle. He is cool as a cucumber.
Yeah, I was going to say, his positioning in the goal has been what has really taken away a lot of those shots. You keep talking about bad angle shots, and it seems like Pharisee is the one who's making these shots bad angles because of how far out in the blue paint. He's barely even touching the blue paint at this point, and he's able to really take away so much more of that zone behind him, which is
Another one on. That one nearly trickled through. Tried firing one, and off the rebound, it doesn't go anywhere. Trying to chase this one down now. It's Duchesne. He got it away. Maryland opportunity developing. No, Caleb Craven is erased.
Feels like the energy in this building has ramped up.
One goal with 3.5 minutes to go will certainly do that. Fired on and wide. That was Corey Levy that time. Not able to get that one quite through. Not able to get that one quite out. And there it finally does squeak out. And then a hit thrown and no call.
Oh, and he's down. Holding his knee right now as I believe his leg got clipped a little bit from either the stick or just the skate.
I think it was Nolan Taberham. I don't know if this is knee on knee, but boy, I'm actually surprised this was not called in real time. If we get a replay, I would love to see it. I don't know. And down is James Body, the 6'4" senior, and he is struggling to get up at the moment. The trainer is out. So let's see here. Oh, wow. I gotta tell you, looking at that, I don't know that Taberham should feel he should feel fortunate that he is walking away without penalty time at the moment.
Yeah, because that definitely seemed like it was player on player and either an interference call there. Body did have the opportunity to save that, but he's going off the ice. And that's not a player that Maryland really wants to lose here. Body has been not only a great player with 7 goals and 8 assists, playing really, really strong throughout a lot of this game as well. We've seen him take a penalty, but he's been a very nameable player.
We've mentioned him on block shots multiple times. Yeah,
exactly.
So they helped him to the bench. He is not heading to the room, so we'll keep an eye on that. He is heading to the bench. That's probably a better sign for now, but let's see what they decide to do. It's tough because, again, you don't want to make a call, and the officials are talking this over right now. You definitely don't want to make a call that's going to change the course of a game, but by the same token, by not making a call that might have been the right call, you're also changing the game. So conversation here with the captains, and it was Taberham, of course, who is the captain for the Seahawks. Be very curious to see how this all ends up here. I don't think we're going to get anything from the special teams perspective.
Yeah, it really just hitting with either the stick might have even been a better situation there, as it would have just been a trip, but it really does seem like that leg is what clips him. Maybe it's like the shin or part of the padding, and that just hits the knee and he goes down and still looks like he's over on the bench, which again is a good sign. Probably just getting that checked out and just having the trainer talk to him and see if he needs to come out of the game, if he needs to keep playing. They are up right now, but with 3 minutes left, that could be a decider in the game.
3:10 to go, 52 saves in this one. And make it 53. That one was point blank for Pharisee. My goodness.
Beautiful way to get the shoulder off and over.
Back to the point. Another shot through traffic. If that one got through, Pharisee made the save. I don't know if it did. Coming out to play it well up ice. That was Clancy. Back down low. Pharisee will play. Gets over to Craven.
The question is, when do they pull Clancy out to get that extra man?
It's a good question. Through traffic. Might have gotten the blocker on that one. The goalie stick is down. That one hit the pad. Good save there on a bad angle shot. I think any save without the stick is a good save, and they're able to get this one out. He has his stick back, by the way. So
he's made 2 saves without a stick, 1 save with a regular skater's stick, and it actually seems like they might be pulling the goalie here very soon.
So he just gloved this. Puck came loose near him. No shot. He's up to 57 saves, by the way. Yeah, so this is the replay here. This is unreal, man. Look at this. So he makes the first save, loses the stick.
Makes that other save off of a blocker, but he hugs the post in such a good way that, again, it blocks those hard angles. I mean,
I think we're going to get a timeout here, by the way.
Yeah, and this might actually be where I think the Wilmington team, or the coaching staff, as they are the one who made the timeout, they might be talking about a play that they're going to draw up, probably 6-on-5 opportunity here, and definitely trying to reiterate no penalties. Wilmington's only gotten 1. Maryland has had 3, but Wilmington suffered on that penalty.
They sure did. Again, we'll keep an eye out and see if we can get an update on anything related to James Body, who went to the bench, was helped to the bench, but didn't go to the room as far as we saw. And I'm checking to see if we still see him on the bench at this moment. But nonetheless, it's 1-0. And who would have thought that the only, and this is such a hockey thing, but the only goal in this game, an unassisted goal off of a broken play that went off of a Seahawks player, off of the side of the net, and somehow lands on the stick of Luke Mohan, who then just has essentially a wide open net because the goalie at that point, he wasn't fooled by anything that happened other than a weird bounce. And
exactly,
that's where we are. That's our only goal. Otherwise, it has been the Pharisee show.
He was looking the complete opposite direction, and it just somehow squiggles its way past and in, and Wilmington starting with their goalie basically at the Wake Forest
logo. Yeah.
So you definitely are going to see him coming off here very soon if they win the faceoff, which they don't, so he has to go back in.
Yeah, that's tough. Now the question is, could there be numbers here for Maryland? Really good effort by James Romps. Got that one around. Ultimately, Wilmington will be able to clear this one. Can the Seahawks find a goal? It has been a long time since they have scored. Number 2 seed in this tournament, had not played in almost a month. Firing that one on, doesn't get through. Netminder wanted to come out again. Finally, they're going to be able to get him to the bench. That was labored, intercepted, and that will be the insurance marker. 1 fluid motion, neutral zone turnover. It's 2-0 Maryland.
Teske with the goal there from the neutral zone. I mean, that is what they were. Wilmington was waiting to pull the goalie. They got the opportunity, and they made a stretch pass that I don't think was needed. I think they could have brought it up and over the blue line, kept it in their zone, maybe kept it in the neutral zone while they got that other person on. We'll see it here as the goalie goes off. They go for the stretch pass with great defending by the Maryland Terrapins.
Impressive play there by the captain, Teske. It is 2-0 Maryland. And now, straits are dire. 1:15 to go. 6th man comes on. Goalie comes off. Scrum ensues in the corner, far side of the ice. Puck comes out. Good stick to keep this one in the zone. But every second that melts off that clock is a win for Maryland. And they are going to clear this, and that's number 3.
This game was 1-0 not 30 seconds ago, and in just 2 minutes left, it is now 3-0 against the number 2 seed.
Brian Teske with a huge one a moment ago, and immediately followed up by Tommy Pilkington, the freshman, and that is the dagger. Pilkington, look at this little stick move here, and is able to send it all the way down.
And I don't even think that was a shot on goal on purpose. I think he was just trying to clear it down, and it just so happened to go right into the net.
40 seconds to go, and how about the chaos in this tournament? The 2 upsets to start. The lower seed will move on in both instances, and as mentioned at the start of the third period, we are now aware that this tournament will reseed. So the bracket image we had was just for fun. They will reseed this tournament based on the winners of the 4 games, which, by the way, means that Virginia Tech is no worse than the 3 seed in the next round and that's because Maryland has completed the upset. One more shot for good measure. 59 saves for for Jack Pharisee. What a performance for the freshman, and Pharisee has led Maryland into an upset and the second round.
It's not the Cinderella story because that would be Delaware beating Rowan, but it's basically the same thing. 7 beating the number 2 seed. Wilmington with a really strong season, but it seems like that break that they had due to weather and also some scheduling conflicts must have not been the best thing for this team, as Maryland was able to capitalize on the chaotic nature of a real live game.
I would love to know what the record is for most saves in a shutout in this tournament. Pharisee is probably up there with 59.
I don't even know if we've seen a shutout in the championship here. I mean, the coaching staff of Wilmington has to be definitely impressed with the season that they put on. The only unfortunate thing about this for Maryland is Maryland has to keep winning, because Wilmington, when we look at the regional tournament that will be happening later in the rest of this month, and I believe might be starting in March as well, Wilmington's already pretty settled in. Maryland, on the other hand, they really have to step it up and win these next couple of games, and this could be a very interesting story because, again, if Delaware wins the next game that happens, and then if Wake Forest wins the final, then the entire seeding is very confusing, and Maryland is the one who plays Wake Forest, and Delaware plays Virginia Tech.
Here's what we do know. If Rowan wins the next game coming up at 6 o'clock, Maryland will play Rowan. That much we know for sure, because Maryland would then officially clinch the lowest seed of the second round advancers. So that much we do know. They can play Rowan, and if that does not happen, if Rowan were somehow upset by Delaware, then at that point we would have the question of whether it would be Wake Forest or Penn State. So that's where we'll leave it here. Maryland upsets UNC Wilmington, and for the second game in a row, the lower seed pulls it out over the higher seed. 3-0 the final, 2 empty net goals. And one last word, Finn, on Jack Pharisee. He was phenomenal in this one. I don't know that there are enough words to describe how well he played. He was the backbone for this Maryland team.
I mean, a freshman who ended up winning the U18 championship for the Ice Devils in Montgomery. I mean, you could see the veteran nature of that player. I mean, he's a freshman. He's young. He's, 19, 18 right now, and he was able to play in a tournament against the number 2 seed after winning a game to pull them into the actual tournament against Ryder. They're the team that ends up on top, and he performs a shutout, which is incredible for a guy like him, especially with 59 shots on him.
UNC scores a lot of goals, by the way, in case folks are not familiar with their game. UNC Wilmington, I believe, is near the top of the league in goals per game, and if not the top of the league, I mean, they're pretty close. I had them at something outrageous, like 110 goals in just 17 games. They score a lot, is the simple way of putting it, and they cannot find a single one in this one today. We're waiting to see if we might actually have Mr. Pharisee. I don't want to promise anything yet. We'll find out in just a moment here, but Maryland moves on, and this is going to give a real opportunity here. This is going to give a real opportunity for Maryland to do some damage in this tournament because, again, as we mentioned previously, with the reseeding nature of this, they are not a lock to play the Rowan Profs. But we will see. We will see. Either way, tremendous performance for the young man. Maryland Terrapins win 3-0 in this one. Waiting to get the final word. I don't think we're going to get the interview, but...
Oh, it does, actually. We might be getting either the coach or... Yeah, it looks like we will be.
Okay, very good. We're going to have someone in just a moment here.
I mean...
Here we go. Coach Carter is back with us, Coach Joe Carter. Coach, again, defensively, I think the shot tally doesn't tell the whole story, but you have to credit what Jack Pharisee did in this one. 59 saves is a tremendous performance for a freshman, and you mentioned it. What a veteran, we've been talking about it up here, basically a veteran performance from someone you would never expect that from based on their age.
Yeah, we talked about it between the first. All credit to Jack Pharisee here. Amazing performance, but we knew he had it in him.
I have to say, defensively as well, third period, there was a long stretch in that third where it felt like, again, UNC had kind of resorted to peppering the net. Was that the idea? You guys keep them to the outside and you feel like your goaltender will clean up the rest?
Exactly. Just want to limit the high danger chances there. We kept everything to outside. I really don't think Wilmington had very many, if any, scoring chances that period. And of course, Jack shut down anything that they did have.
Any updates on James' body? No, he went down. Any updates on how he is?
A little too early. Obvious knee on knee there. Not sure why the refs didn't call anything there. Their explanation was they didn't see it, but it was pretty obviously knee on knee.
Yeah, definitely something scary to see happen, but it's a good news that he was still on the bench for the rest of that third period, so hopefully that will be a good sign for the rest of the game, especially from a player like James Body, who is very, very strong, both off ice and on ice. I want to talk to you real quickly about keeping a team that their lowest amount of scores they have had in a game has been 3, and you had a shutout against them. Is that something that you were even thinking about for this game?
Well, we did a lot of studying coming into this game. I watched a lot of film, and I felt really good about our systems coming into this game, and we just played our game.
Very good, Coach. Congratulations. I guess, what do you do after a win like this? How do you celebrate? How do you enjoy it? Or are you just planning on watching hockey for the rest of the day?
We're just watching hockey. We still have business to take care of tomorrow.
Yeah, that is true. Can't celebrate too long. Coach, congrats. We'll talk with you tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
That is Coach Joe Carter, and I do believe we have standing by the player of the game, Jack Pharisee, the goaltender with 59 saves in that debut performance in this tournament. And Jack, congratulations. You're here with Alex and Finn up here, and I guess this is not technically the nest, but we're close enough. Congratulations, man. That was a tremendous performance. Did you wake up thinking that you could be that kind of a wall today?
Oh yeah, that's just another day in the office.
I've heard goalies are a little on the crazier side.
Yeah.
Do you have any crazy routines that you maybe your teammates wouldn't partake in?
Not anymore. I've actually been called by my teammates the most normal goalie they ever played with. So I'll go out, do the little warm up, play some suey. I guess the weirdest thing I do, I'll throw a ball against the wall, get the eyes warmed up, but I think that's pretty normal for a goalie. So I'd say pretty normal goalie.
Yeah, you're almost boring for a goalie. I
like to be boring.
I mean, 59 shots on goal, and you stopped every single one of them.
Yeah.
We talked about this with your coach as well. Wilmington, their lowest scoring in any of their games has been 3, and they ended up losing that game to Rowan. You kept them to 0 goals, a team that is normally scored on average 4 to 5 goals, and you stopped them. Was it just the bounces? Was it something that you ate this morning for breakfast? What do you think went into that performance?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just grit. I'd love to take credit for that, but there's two other people I have to thank. The scorekeepers, because I think they might have embellished the shots on goal a little bit. And, the D were blocking shots all day. First 5 minutes, I think I saw seven block shots. That makes my job easy.
No, that's absolutely. We were talking about it up here as well, that it felt like the game plan was keep them to the outside and then you would take care of the rest.
Yeah.
So structurally, and this is the type of game where whatever was less, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. You get the shutout, you didn't let anything by, and you can also give some credit to your teammates as well. It was a great team performance by you and everyone else. So one last question for you. How do you go and enjoy this, knowing, I know you guys have to play tomorrow, but can you go enjoy this for a few hours?
Yeah, I think go get some food. I'm starving. Definitely going to get to bed early tonight. I'm exhausted. My gear's going to be soaked tomorrow, but that's the price of winning.
Very good. Enjoy, and we'll talk with you then. All right.
Yep. All right. Thanks for having me.
Very good, and that's a big performance there from Jack Pharisee, 59 saves. So before we get out of here, I hate harping on it because it's just tremendous. It's a huge performance. You love to see it. And I'm a particular sucker for goalie performances. I'm a New York Rangers fan after all. It's what they've been known for the last 40 years. That was a really good performance. And he is right on to praise the team in front of him, especially in that early. I mean, he pointed it out. Like 7 block shots in the first 5 minutes. But at day's end, he still had to make a whole boatload of saves against a team that scores a lot of goals.
We saw a bunch of crazy ones where he was on his stomach, ones where he was on his back, even a couple where he didn't even have a stick in his hand. And the level-headedness...
Forgot to ask him about that. That's right,
The level-headedness of a player like that, able to control the game and keep everything on the other side of the goal is just phenomenal. And I'm excited to see what happens tomorrow as well.
Yeah, Finn, great job, and thanks for joining us on the broadcast. We're going to step aside here. When we return, it'll be Rowan and Delaware in the 1-8 game, and I guess the question is, how many Cinderella slippers are we giving out in this one tonight? So far, it's been the 5 over the 4, the 7 over the 2. Can the 8 take down the 1? That is coming up here on AAU Plus and on YouTube. For Finn Trainer, I'm Alex Wiederspiel. We'll be back.